You're listening to the Ironman Fitness Podcast with Matt Lawrence, where you'll get tips on strength and conditioning, working out the right way, and nutrition. We believe getting stronger is the key to becoming the best athlete you can be. Train safe, play safe.
All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of the Ironman Fitness Podcast. I'm Todd Genatasio here with Matt Lawrence from Ironman Fitness. And today we're going to get started with our first segment of recent and upcoming events. So, Matt, I know you attended something with Joe DeFranco a couple weeks ago. Why don't you give a little recap on that?
Sure, Todd. Thanks for having us on. And listen, I just have to tell you that when I went to DeFranco's, I've been a long-time follower of his, and also it's not only Joe DeFranco is involved here, but one of another great trainer named Jim Smith, or known by the name of Smitty. It was always one of my goals was to get down there and get to this facility and see how these people train. I've been in this business for about 10 years, and I've been following Joe DeFranco for about 10 years. So for me to go down there, and this was a trainer certification course. It was called a CAP certification, Certified Athletic Preparation Specialist is what it stands for. But the bottom line is how to train athletes the right way, to where we're not overdoing one thing, underlooking another thing. It's a great balance between everything, from the strength, from the mobility, flexibility, and speed work. So the event down there was overwhelming at times because they just put so much information on you, and it was just almost information overload. But we took some great points out of it, and I've actually, in the last couple of weeks since I've been there, have changed some things in my programming here at Ironman Fitness. So it was all for the better, and I came away with a ton of knowledge, and it was like one of those destinations or bucket list things that you talk about to get to that place. So when we got there, it was money well spent and time well spent. So we had a great time.
That's great, and you came away now. So you have a certification from DeFranco and Jim Smith in this area. Yeah,
well, there will only be there were approximately 20 of us that were chosen out of quite a few applicants, and being a certified strength and conditioning specialist from the CAP certification, you will be one of his. I can't even think of the word now. Like auxiliary gyms or associates that he can refer people to.
Right.
That alone is a great honor, and the test wasn't easy and stuff. So we're still. They haven't finished completing all the tests, but I think I did okay, and let's just hope it moves forward. And it was just an unbelievable time.
Yeah, that's great. Great experience nonetheless. So
yeah.
You mentioned the strength and conditioning part. So what exactly is strength and conditioning? Because I know a lot of athletes throw the term around, but when it comes down to the basic level, why don't you explain what it is exactly?
Well, strength and conditioning in our end is an overall program that covers everything for an athlete. From the moment they come in, we need to have some type of format for them to follow. Even some current coaches, high school coaches, college coaches, are not utilizing the whole time they have with their athlete. We try and make it a complete spectrum, and a lot of things we do is evaluate each athlete as they're going through their workout. You never know when a kid had a tough day before, and let's say he had 2 exams, he had his finals, he had some type of testing, he had a bad night's sleep, didn't get to eat that day. Those are all things that you have to kind of watch as a trainer and regulate into, or just kind of modify, regulate, or change to make sure that athlete has a complete workout and he gets the most out of the time with you that he can. Strength and conditioning, well, we'll talk about the strength part first. Strength is for them to be able to play safe. A lot of trainers and a lot of kids that train on their own try and think that they're all going to be someday world-class powerlifters or bodybuilders or anything. That couldn't be any further from the truth. The thing is here, we want to make them stronger so they can play safe and play with a clean head. What I mean by that is they can know that they can go in there and they don't have to worry about going up a guy that's 10 or 15 pounds bigger. We know that their ability, that all the work that they've put in has made them a safer player. So we build strength, and then conditioning, still kind of the same. One of the things that we really try and work on is to make things what we call game appropriate. I deal with quite a few hockey players, so I'll give you an example of that. A lot of coaches, a lot of other trainers will just go and run for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go out and run a few miles. There is nothing more detrimental to a kid's program is when you send them out and tell them to run long, slow distance for endurance. That'll build up his cardio. We like to do it game style. For our hockey players, we make them train for 30 seconds. We wait a minute before they go again, or have somebody else train while they're there, and we actually make them sit down. People will say to me, well, why do you let them sit down while they're training? Why do you listen? Well,
so that's what they're doing that's what they're doing on the bench, right?
That's what they're doing in the game. So they come up when they get done either running, sprinting, working with some ropes, med ball slams, or anything that we choose for that day. We'll make them work for 30 seconds and sit down for a minute, and then they'll go again. And as we progress through our season, or they get closer to their season, we'll start to increase the amount of volume that they have. So week one, when they come to us, it may be only doing 5 or 6, runs per conditioning session. By the time they're getting closer to this season, it could be anywhere up to 10 to 15 pushes in that allotted amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I actually on SportsCenter today, they had Rasheed Wallace talking about he's signed with the Knicks, but he's not ready to play yet because he says he's in great shape, but he's not in game shape where he can sprint up and down the floor and play basketball. But he's in great shape because he's out running a couple miles a day. So even at the pro level, the guy's got to keep that stuff in mind.
Yeah, the higher level the athlete, the more you have to keep that in mind. And the more you have to think about also training them safely.
Right.
The last thing you want to do is take a collegiate athlete or a pro athlete and get them hurt in your training methods. They have a special ability to play the game. All we're doing is making them a little stronger and a little safer and getting them in some better shape.
That's great. So, aside from yourself, who are some of the other strength and conditioning coaches and specialists that you work with up there at Ironman?
Well, right now, we're just coming off, we're in our fall schedule, and I only work with, I have one full-time trainer who works with me. His name is Justin Miner. He's an exercise science major out of the University of New England. And Justin has been with me as an employee for, I believe, almost 2 years now. But he's actually been through with my training system for about 6. So he's been through the whole changes and everything. And one of the great things about Justin is he's very scientific. I'm a little bit more out there and radical, and maybe sometimes I don't plan as much or plan the right ways. And he always keeps me in check and says, hey, the progressions have to be this way so we get to that final goal. His anatomy and physiology knowledge is second to none, and he's in love. He loves being a trainer. So he drives it's about a 45-minute drive here from Exeter up to his school up at the University of New England. He listens to podcasts, listens to books on tape. He's doing everything he can to make himself a better trainer. And I, to be honest with you, we couldn't do what we do at Ironman Fitness without him. And then I have a couple part-time young guys that are coming up and comers. I have a couple interns now and then, but it's mostly Justin and I running the show till the summers, and then we bring in maybe another trainer or two during the summer.
That's cool. And with his educational background there, you guys aren't just trying random stuff. You know what's going into the programs that you got the kids going through.
Yeah, there is nothing that is random about what we do. Random may be a little bit of chaos training where we'll put a circuit together, put 3 or 4 hardcore exercises together. That may be about as random as we go, but even that is timed and controlled and has a goal.
Yeah, controlled chaos.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are the keys to workouts in your strength and conditioning program? Just basics for stuff when you get guys. Let's say it's a first time athlete coming to the gym to get started. What kind of stuff do you put them through?
Well, some of the stuff we put them through is there. Every exercise that we do has been done before. Ours is more of a mentality. One of the big things that we have to teach new athletes is that you don't need to go to failure every single day. We scientifically, what we know is that to save 1 or 2 in a tank, what I mean by that is if you can do 10 repetitions or something, maybe you only do 9 or 8 or 9. Save a little bit in the tank. We know that through too many times of failure that it affects our body too much and it takes us too long to recover. Our programs at Ironman depend on the level of the athlete. We evaluate all the athletes when they come in to make sure that they're healthy and have no limitations in what they can do. But the basic programs are all about a full body every day. We don't do any upper lower body splits or anything like that. It really comes down to a push, a pull, a hinge, and a carry some days. So a push can be anything from a push-up all the way up to a bench press or an incline press. Pulls can be anywhere from a very low-angle inverted row to weighted pull-ups. Pushes or hinges or squat pattern could be anything from a bodyweight squat all the way up to somebody doing a heavy back squat or anything along those lines. And we do a lot of carries. People don't really understand the carry, and what we're talking about is putting 2 heavy weights in your hands and walking for about 30 or 40 yards. We find this with our swim groups is probably one of the best exercises around. Keeps their shoulders packed tight, adds duration to the exercise, and it's just that adding to that full work capacity where you really never have a downtime. So that's just it in a nutshell. And then, of course, one of the other things too, one of the things we teach is to be tight. Everybody thinks that you just, like even with a bench press, you just pick the bar up out of the rack and you push up, push down with your chest. It couldn't be further from the truth. And the game, any of the games that are played, whether it be football, hockey, baseball, upon impact, everybody has to be tight. What I mean by that is pushing it when you're on a bench press, you're pushing your feet down on the ground, you're squeezing the bar real tight, you're pulling your shoulder blades back and down. It's full body tension. So think about when you're making contact in football. It's not you just pushing your head through the guy or pushing your shoulder through his chest. It's full body tension. So the tighter we are, the better we are.
That's great. So, making sure that everybody keeps that in mind when they're working out makes a difference when they get on the field or the ice or the court or whatever it is. Their bodies are ready for it.
It definitely makes a big difference. And one of the things when we have groups coming through with 2 trainers there, we really pay attention to detail. We want to make sure that the exercise and the technique is done correctly before anybody gets any crazy ideas about lifting heavy weight. So paying attention to detail, tightening up, a couple of the things that we really, we work pretty hard there.
That's great. And do you have a workout tip of the week that people can take action on when they go and hit the gym and train today?
Sure, here it is, and I kind of just touched upon it a little bit now. Think about being tight. Think about your whole body being one rigid piece and being extremely tight when you move. When you do a push-up, you should be tight from head to toe. When you squat, your whole body should be tight. As even though we're sitting back down, we want to make sure that everything is tight. You're squeezing the bar. Think about being tight when you do your next exercise. It'll change everything. Oh, here it is. Here's one. When you do a bodyweight lunge, and you go down and you try and touch your back knee to the ground and you come up, think about you being just as super tight as can be, because if you push against loose muscles, you'll feel your hips sway, and your upper body will tilt or lean to one side or the other. But if you're tight, everything drives straight up and comes straight back down again.
That's great. All right, well, thanks a lot, Matt. I think this was great information, especially introduction to strength and conditioning, and especially what you guys at Ironman Fitness are doing and have coming up for the winter seasons here, working with the different athletes. So thanks a lot, and we'll talk again next week.
All right, thanks, Todd.
All right, thanks.